Hi, this is Glenn Tribitz. I'm one of the owners of the Hollywood Piano Company, and we're very excited that we're starting our Hollywood Piano Network. And our first interview today is a guest who's doing a concert today in our store, all the way from Australia, award-winning New Age artist, pianist, composer, singer, Fiona Joy Hawkins. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
It's such a pleasure. And you came all the way from Australia.
I did. I've come 10,000 miles across the pond.
Wow. And, Fiona, you have a new album out. Here's the cover. I love this cover. 600 Years in a Moment. And if you notice the little piano over there, how did this cover come to be?
You know, it's amazing. I actually met somebody on Facebook, and they came into my message inbox and just left a little link to their photos. And I don't normally take the time to follow a lot of the links, but this time I did, and I was blown away by this person's photographs. He's from Wales, and of course all my ancestors are Irish and Scottish, so that Celtic feel came through in his photography, and I just fell in love with it, and he offered to do my cover for me.
Wow, it's a beautiful cover. I'm going to feature that on our Facebook. Well, because this is a place that specializes in selling pianos, and we have so many young people learning to play the piano, I'm interested in knowing, when did you start playing the piano?
Well, I was 8 years old. My mother was 17 when I was born, so my grandmother moved in to take care of me, and she bought a beautiful 100-year-old piano with her, and I just fell in love with it. And all I wanted to do was learn the piano and become a composer.
Become a composer. How do you know that you want to be a composer at 8 years old?
At 8, it's really strange, but I can remember it really clearly. I made a conscious decision that was what I wanted to do, and just writing music was something I loved right from the beginning, and I've always pursued that. I used to lie with my head in the speakers listening to Ravel's Bolero. Wow. And deconstructing all the parts and working out the build.
At 8 years old?
Yeah.
That's amazing. What was it about the piano or music that made you want to create?
I think it's kind of like synchronicity. You know, you can feel something, you can see something, you can have an emotion, a thought, an image, and you can turn it into a piece of music. And as a child, I actually tapped into that quite early, and for me it was, some people might sit down, with a box of crayons and do a drawing, and I just sat at the piano, and that's how I spoke to people, I guess.
I love that. Did you have any inspirations musically when you were a child? I
love, obviously, Ravel, Prokofiev, and also I loved listening to Andrew Lloyd Webber and all of his musicals. My father played Jesus in Superstar. And I didn't discover New Age and what New Age was, or hear George Winston, until I was 20 years old. And yet, straight away, when I heard his music, I knew that I fitted neatly into the New Age genre.
And after you've discovered New Age music, what was it about it that made you want to compose New Age style?
I actually don't have, and still to this day, don't have any commercial imperative or any ability to follow any style. I just write what I write.
Okay, so it comes from the heart.
Yeah, and I'm just lucky that it falls somewhere into a genre, so that there's somewhere that a shelf that they can put it on in the stores.
When someone buys your album, it's you. It just came out of your heart, and it's not meant to be any particular style.
No, and it really crosses a lot of genre, because I'm classically trained. There's elements of world music and New Age, and I guess a little bit of jazz in there as well.
Wow. And have you composed other kinds of music? Instrumental music, vocal music, anything like that?
Yes, the new album is actually my answer to globalization in a musical sense. So I took a contemporary handmade piano, and I recorded it with ancient instruments from around the world. So there's a lot of really interesting and old instruments, and I actually had the sound of each of those instruments in my head, so I wrote specifically for them when I wrote the album. And I do also sing as well.
Very cool. And tonight you're going to be doing your performance on our Estonia.
I know,
concert
it's
right
amazing.
here.
Absolutely beautiful.
It's a 9-foot piano, and
Hmm.
it's hand-built in Estonia.
Wow. Mm.
And this piano has a kind of a nice history to it because the great jazz artist Dick Hyman, whenever he comes to the West Coast, he requests this piano.
Of course.
And we've
I've had a
sent
play
out
on it.
a
Wow.
few times. And then Quincy Jones used
Yeah.
this piano on the recording of this young jazz artist who's amazing named Emily Bear. She's 12 years old. She had Quincy Jones
Wow.
producing her album. So it's this has a nice history, and it should have a good aura about it.
It has some soul. You
Yes.
can feel it when you play.
When you first started taking piano lessons, did you study traditional lessons?
I did. I went through my grades, and in Australia we have AMEB grades, which is a form of classical training. And I went right through all of the grades, and I always knew that I had to go far enough to be able to play the music that I wanted to write. So I had to sit down and do the scales. It was not my first choice of what I wanted to do at the piano, but I stuck with it and I completed the training.
Good for you. You hear that, kids out there who are learning to play the piano? Stick with it.
Do the scales.
And did you study composition?
No, I didn't. And a lot of people have said that was a good thing because it comes from inside you. You can't really teach. You can teach somebody to construct music, but a composer is it's like I said with the synchronicity, it comes from somewhere else. It comes from another place. And I guess I'm lucky in a way because if you do go to university and learn composition, you're learning to write like everybody else.
True.
You know?
Good point. Very good point. What does the future hold for Fiona Joy Hawkins?
Well, I'm moving into film. I'm moving into producing. I've just produced a new piano artist at Imaginary Road Studios with Will Ackerman, and that's been a dream of mine.
He's a legend in the world of New Age music.
So moving into producing is definitely something I love doing. Moving into film and doing film scores is something I'm looking forward to. And I'm also doing an album next year with Blue Coast Records, direct to DSD, which is an audiophile format. Yeah.
Exciting.
That is exciting, yes.
Well, Fiona, I'm anxiously awaiting your performance in just about an hour or so, and really, really thrilled to have you here today. I know you've been through a tour here in the U.S.
3 months of touring, yes.
Wow. So we're happy that you chose us as the final spot to end it all. And are you going back to Australia after this?
I fly back to Australia tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm going to miss America. I love it here.
Well, I'm sure America's going to miss you too. I want to thank Fiona Joy Hawkins for being our first guest on our new interview series, and please look for more as we post them on our YouTube channel. Again, this is Glenn Tribitz from Hollywood Piano. Thank you all, and peace.
Thank you.